If you're looking for the one accessory that you need for your backyard urban homestead, or any chicken coop for that matter, we've got the one for you. In today's video, we're going to be going over our experience with the Omlet Autodoor. Let's go. Welcome back to MoonWood Homestead, where we help you become more self-sufficient one project at a time. If you're new here and like what you see, consider subscribing, leave a like or a comment in the video down below if you want to go on more MoonWood adventures. Today, we're going to be taking a look at our experience with our Omlet Autodoor. Now, we've had Omlet Autodoor for about a year now, just about. We ordered it shortly after we got our original Omlet coop. If you'd like to know more about this coop and everything that goes along with it, we've actually done a review in it already, so you can check the link for that. It should be hopefully up here, or the link will be down below in the description. So one of the questions that you may ask yourself is, what does the Autodoor do? Well, it's an auto door, so it automatically opens. So this door is kind of a unique one in any of the ones that we've researched in the past. Most of the time, these doors from various different vendors, whether you look on Amazon or just the general net, are doors that look a little rough, like they look like they just got put together with just the mechanical needs that are there, kind of exposed or a little bit open, but the door essentially slides from the top or down from the bottom up to the top. This works for a lot of folks. And it does the job, right? Most of the time, the retail on these doors are pretty comparable, between 100, 200 bucks. When I started working with Omlet, and by working with, I mean literally just becoming a fan of, because they're not sponsoring anything to do with us, we just like their product line. But when I started working with the Omlet product line, I saw the Autodoor and was like, this is amazing, we need this on our homestead, right? So we got the first one. Now, when we got the first one, we applied that to the coop itself inside, and we'll show a video here in just a little bit of kind of what that looks like. So we applied it to the coop, and it works fantastic. But what we wanted to do was make sure that the girls could actually roam not only in the 9-foot coop run that we have here, but in the larger space that we have around us right now. We've tried to fully enclose this and are working down the line to make sure that we've got, you know, the material over to the top to protect them entirely. We don't really have a whole lot of avian predators like right here in our urban area that at least are going to mess with these guys, but still rather be safe than sorry. So we wanted something that not only could let them out into this, but also into this. So we got a second one. Yes, I know I'm incredibly crazy, and the homestead goddess thought the same thing until I got it, just saying. It went amazing. Super smooth to have that function to where we can let them out into here if we're on vacation or something where we're not here. If we want, we can then open it up on a day-to-day basis, the one down here on the bottom, and they can get out into the larger run space. So really convenient. And honestly, if I want to be gone for a day to 2 days, because of the cameras that I have around the homestead, I have a friend that lives nearby, and I have an automatic feeder and waterer on top of the auto doors. I could actually let them be on their own for a day or 2 days. I would feel comfortable doing that, as long as I can check on them, or at worst have my friend come visit to check them out for me. But I don't have to have someone here, which is amazing. The only thing that stinks is that I can't get the eggs out of the coop until somebody comes back. So really something to consider for your coop. So what are the best parts about it? Well, obviously, like I said, you don't have to be here. I really like that functionality for it. If and when I'm out to dinner with friends or family, if they want to get up at 6 a.m. on a Saturday morning, I may not want to do that. And that's where this benefit really comes in. I think the other piece and part to that you can consider is the programmability of the coop, and that, or of the door. And that's really neat. So with the door, you can program it in 3 different ways. You can do a time option, so mine are set to open and close at a certain time during the day. You can also do it by a light option. Now this is nice, and actually something I may be experimenting with very soon. I've used the time option the entirety of the time that I've had it, but the light option is kind of nice because there's a sensor on the front of the control panel that's on this, and it's sensing how much light's around it, and once it gets below a certain degree for a particular amount of time, it will open and close based on that level. Now you can build in buffers for like rainy or cloudy days where it has to be this level for so long. If it only does it for like a short period of time, meaning a cloud has come over, then it won't change anything, which is really, really cool. The aspect I like about that, and the something I'll get to later, is that means time changes don't really affect it because it's just simply going based off the light sense. The other option is the manual one, where you just literally hold the button down and it'll open the door and close the door. This has come in handy a few different times if I need to corral them into a certain space. Maybe I want to have them all out while I'm cleaning the coop or doing something along those lines, or maybe a video recording. So this is of course helpful as well. The only thing I wish that we could do at this point to make this even more of a lazy man's option is to throw it in an application, and I have no doubt honestly that Omlet's probably going to do this in the next few years. So the other nice part about this Auto-Door is that it moves left to right, or right to left, depending on how you want to set it up. And that's another function I like about it. I don't need the top bottom space to waste, you know, or I have to have it that high to be able to do it, which means you could apply this basically anywhere you want to in your run space. That brings us to another positive, is that you can apply this door not only to the Omlet product line, but you can also apply it to anything metal, wood, you name it. All you need to have is the frame space for that door. It actually gives you the materials that you need depending on what you're applying it to with the door. So it comes with all of the material and then you just apply it to whichever one you're doing it with. The next thing that we love, how Omlet actually helps you build it. So I don't have the build video on this. We installed this about a year ago, so it was before I started filming. However, Omlet does amazing with their instruction tutorial videos. I've seen some people do it on YouTube and they've done an amazing job, but personally, bar none, Omlet does it the best. So I'm gonna leave a link to that video for the Auto-Door in this one. It's gonna walk you through step by step. That's one of the biggest things I could praise about Omlet as a whole, as a company, when I did the review for the coop, is that you're gonna get this really thick booklet like you do with any other thing you gotta build. And just like those IKEA manuals, you're gonna rack your brain on it. Now the Auto-Door isn't actually that difficult to build. I think there was like 5 steps to it, honestly, and that's in the Omlet coop. I think it's even easier with the wood and metal setups that I've seen. However, you get this book regardless of the instructions and you're like, gosh, I have to figure this out. But they have links in each of the pages, depending on what you're doing. So to the coop door, or to the Omlet piece, to the wood, or to the metal, that link you to YouTube with somebody doing the setup exactly the way you're doing it on YouTube in a very professional and very, very well recorded setup. So far better than I could ever do. So props to them, love Omlet for that. Best feature about them, in my personal opinion, about any company ever. I wish everybody did this. So check that out when you go to do this. It's really, really helpful. Now, like I said, the door honestly takes you, I want to say you could probably get through it in like less than 30 minutes, and that's reading a manual, watching a video. For me, I already had the coop built, so I had to open it up a bit, put the door in, put it back together, and then come out. Wasn't too bad with this. Still only took me about 30 minutes and one person. So you can get through this really, really easily. It's not a difficult task. It's really not. So what are some of the cons, right? What could be terrible about this thing? Honestly, there's really not much. There's only a few things that I have personally found in the time that I've had this that have really been a pain. The first is blocking the door, right? So you block the door, of course it's not going to close properly. This door, when it goes, it's gonna travel down the track. When it hits something that's blocking it, it's gonna open it back up. And it thinks, in this case, that it's probably a chicken. So it's gonna try to do it again, hoping that that nudge that it gave, because it's very gentle. I'll do a little show here of how much force it takes to pop the door back open so that it doesn't actually hurt any of the birds. But it'll keep trying this about 2 or 3 times until it stays in whatever position it goes in last. So if it was closed and it can't open, then it'll stay closed, vice versa if there's something that's blocking it. If you've got mulch or bedding or anything else that's really close to the top of the door, it'll get into the track and stop it. And this can become problematic over time. So what we've done is actually put almost like a little doorway entry into the coop on the one side, so that when they kick their mulch, they can't kick it into the track as easily, and it makes it much smoother. And since I've done this, I haven't had any problems. You could solve this in a number of different ways, whether you just pull the bedding back. If you're out here messing with the bedding every day, that's also a thing. We come and collect our eggs every day. We hang out with them and talk to them and whatnot. We're working on the bees in the back, or the rabbit hutches and stuff that we have inside. So we've got a lot of stuff going on the homestead, but we don't actually get in there necessarily all the time to rake it. But we found that by adding these couple of bricks to the left and right that we already had laying around, that it's kind of solved the problem, but something definitely to take into consideration as you're using bedding or where you're going to place this, right? The second thing kind of goes back to what we talked about in the first portion of the video, where if you're using the time settings on this, daylight savings time is a thing. So I found out that actually twice over the last year, where, of course, twice over the last year, where I couldn't figure out what the heck was going on. I came out one evening where I'm checking my chicken cams that I've got throughout the coop, and they are all nesting on the ground outside of the run. They're not even in the run, let alone the coop, but they're nesting outside on the floor. And I'm like, what the heck? Couldn't figure out, thought it was the batteries were dying. The batteries weren't dying in the sensor. It was just daylight savings time. The hour was off and the chickens weren't able to get in, the door shut, and then they're just stuck outside. So beyond those two things, there's very little that I could say that I don't like about it. It just really is efficient. It is effective. It's easy to install. The other perk about this that I didn't cover previously, as I've been going through our material, is the batteries. This is something else that's really, really nice. So most of the time, the other Autodoors that I've seen require electricity in some form or fashion. This just requires a couple of batteries that you change. I've changed mine one time in the last year. Honest to God, it was that easy. And the beauty of it is that when you're looking at the material or looking at the actual programmer that we'll show in a second, it's got the battery level on there, not just like a bar, but it actually tells you we're at 20%, we're at 80%, we're at 100%. So I know the first door that I have is significantly lower on battery power. It's the first time I'll change this one compared to the other one that's down here on the ground, because that's the most recent one, and that one's much higher. The batteries have lasted far longer because it's so new. So I like that ability. Finally, what else can you do with this, right? So you can install the Auto-Door into the material. What else can you play with that? Omlet's made it to where in your programmer that you open your door with, you can also add a coop light. So of course I did that because I like to do fun things. So ours have a coop light that screwed into the top. You can do this for anything, but particularly for the Omlet, of course, it goes right into their product. Whether you bought the light and the door or not, Omlet's product line is made to where you can add things after first purchase, which is really nice. Good morning. So it already has the slots and everything for it, regardless of when you choose to buy it, whether it's day one or a couple years later. So we bought the coop light and make it to where the light actually goes on 15 minutes before the door closes. So it's kind of there, since it gets dark, it's there, oh, it's bedtime, and they're gonna go climb up to the coop, because they naturally will seek out the highest space and whatever area's got the most light, because it's safer for them in that manner. So they'll find their way that way, and it works every time. It's really convenient, really easy, and there's nothing more to it. You just put the light in and you take the cord and feed it right into the same controller that you're controlling the Auto-Door from, and it automatically works into the same time frame. All right, guys, that about does it for us. Like our video if you liked the content. Leave a comment if you had any questions. If you were curious about any of the Omlet materials that we've gone over in this video or any of our others in the Omlet series, utilize the links down below. They do help support our channel. And I hope that you guys will join us next time for some more fun and adventures out here at MoonWood Homestead. Until next time, see ya.